Hi, welcome back. In this video, we will configure application access, including conditional access with Azure MFA. We will begin with the password sharing and rollover capabilities for social media use cases. Next, we provide links to applications to extend the application access scenarios. Further, we will configure an application with SAML for single sign-on and SCIM for user provisioning. Afterwards, we will configure the self-service capabilities to allow the user to choose his own or managed applications. Finally, we will secure our application access scenarios with conditional access, including Azure MFA. Let's go! In the first section, we will start with the configuration of typical social media applications. The main advantage is that you can provide the application access without sharing the password to your users. Furthermore, we can use Azure AD to change the password inside the connected application. Finally, we will provide just links to common applications where the user sign-ins with his own personal credentials. In the first configuration, we will add LinkedIn as our first application. I don't need to mention that we are working in the Azure portal to do our configuration tasks. We choose LinkedIn from the Azure AD application gallery. In the next step, we will assign the application to our existing LinkedIn App Access group from our group configuration tasks. Actually, for this type of application, the role and the assigned permissions are not relevant. In the section 2 of the course, we will have a deep dive to configure roles for applications. Next, we will test our configuration with Doris Sutton over the Access panel. As you can see, the Access panel needs a browser extension to handle such an application. In my examples, I use Chrome and the Edge browser. The first example allows the user to provide the credentials. But we don't want to share the company credentials with users, so we are able to prevent damage to the image of our company. So we go back to the application and change the single sign-on options to password-based single sign-on. We move to the assigned group and use the update credential option and provide the company LinkedIn credentials. Next, we use the account Peter Mitchell with the Microsoft Edge browser to test the functionality. Remember, he is also a member of the group LinkedIn App Access. You will see the behavior on the Edge browser for the Access Panel extension and the successful logon to the LinkedIn application. Next, we will enable the password rollover feature for the LinkedIn application. For this task, we need to change back to the classic Azure Management Portal. We choose the LinkedIn application and the assigned group. Now we can activate the password rollover. That means that Azure Active Directory will automatically update the password in the frequency you choose. In my example, every 4 weeks. Now we will configure Xing as an optional social media app, but we just provide a link to the application in the Access panel. In the single sign-on section, we choose linked sign-on and we provide the link to the logon page of Xing. We assign Doris Sutton for this application. Finally, we'll test our new configuration with the account of Doris. We will find Xing in the application list, and if we click the icon, we will redirect it to the provided logon page of Xing. Doris can enter her private login credentials without saving them into Azure Active Directory. The following scenario is the most advanced in this video. We will use a Workplace by Facebook trial to provide single sign-on based on SAML 2.0 and SCIM for the automatic user provisioning inside the application. You will find all additional information in the given references. With the following configuration tasks, we show an example to provide users a single sign-on with SAML 2.0 and a way for you as administrator to have an automatic provisioning and management solution of the users inside the application. To configure this example, we need to have a Workplace by Facebook trial. Be sure that you register with the user of your registered UPN suffix, in my case, invitlabs.ch. After the successful registration, we need to check the verified domains in the company dashboard. If you have registered with a different UPN suffix, you need to add and verify your domain. Next, we will configure the authentication part. As you can see, we need some information from the Azure Active Directory: the SAML role, issue URI, logout redirect, and the certificate. Let's move over to the Azure Active Directory to gather the information. Add the Workplace by Facebook application as you already know. Go to the Single Sign-On section and download the certificate. Under Configure Workplace by Facebook and the Quick Reference section, you will find the related information. Copy all values into a text file, also the content of the downloaded certificate. Now we can change back to our Facebook app and fill the values in the correct fields as you can see. Next, copy the audience URL and the ACS URL into the text file. Afterwards, we will complete the configuration on the Azure Active Directory side. Yeah, we did the authentication configuration. Let's do the user provisioning configuration now. For the next tasks, we need to gather the information from Facebook to complete the Azure AD configuration. We need to move to Facebook and create a custom integration as you can see. Copy the generated access token and the app ID to the text file. Additionally, we need the API details, the SCIM URL. Now that we have gathered all the information, we can change back to Azure AD and fill the needed fields. Provide the notification email address and check the Send an Email notification box. Next, we need to set the scope to sync only assigned users and groups. Change to the users and groups of the application and check the actual assignments. To test the functionality, we will create a new test user with an Exchange mailbox to receive invitation mails from Facebook. Try the first login with the new created user to the Access panel. Afterwards, we assign the new user to the Facebook application. Now we can see the Facebook app in the Access panel of the user. But first we need to ramp up our new mailbox. To speed up the synchronization, you can use the Clear Current State and Restart Synchronization option under the provisioning section of the application. After a short while, you should see the new synced user in the Facebook company dashboard under People. Next, invite the user to complete the onboarding of the user to the application. Just a note, this behavior can be different for any other application with the SCIM capabilities. Next, you need to check your mails and complete the registration process. Click Create the account. The account will only be claimed with this task, not created. You should be successfully logged in to Facebook without additional authentication prompts. Refresh the company dashboard in Facebook and you will see the fully onboarded user with SCIM. From now, the details of the user will be synced from Azure Active Directory. In this section, we will configure the self-service capabilities. We will choose two options. The first will provide a self-service scenario for our managed applications. And in the second, we give all the freedom to the user to add any application from the Azure AD application gallery. We will start by adding a new group called Twitter App Access to provide Twitter as a self-service available application. Next, we add Twitter from the application gallery to our configuration. Under the single sign-on mode, choose the password-based sign-on option. Afterwards, we choose the self-service conditions to provide the app. Allow users to request the app and choose the Twitter App Access group. Configure the Require Approval option to Yes and choose your preferred approver. In my example, I use Done as an approver. He will be added to the group as owner and all other existing owners will be replaced. Choose the Add App option and you will find Twitter as Suggested App. Add Twitter. To approve the request, login as Done and you will see the notification of the request. Now open Twitter and you will be allowed to provide and store the Twitter login credentials to Azure Active Directory. From now, Doris can use the application with single sign-on capabilities. Finally, we will allow every user to add applications from the Azure AD App Gallery. You will find the option under the user settings of your Azure AD tenant. Just move the slider. Users can add gallery apps to Yes. Test the configuration as Doris. Write Salesforce as an example into the search field in the Access panel, and you will be able to add the application. In the last section, we will secure our environment with some typical conditional access scenarios. First, we will use a new feature called App Enforced Restrictions. This allows us to limit download, print, and sync actions inside of SharePoint based on a web session. Second, we will require Azure MFA to access an application. To configure the App Enforced Restriction feature, we need to change our organization settings to allow the usage of first releases. Because in time of producing this course, it was a brand new feature. You will find the option in the Office 365 admin portal under Settings and the Organizational Profile. Change the release preferences to first releases for everyone or a selected group of users. In my case, I used the Everyone option. For productive environments, you should use a selected pilot group. To be effective, the setting can need up to 24 hours. So if you can't wait, just click forward and do the further tasks. Next, we need to activate the feature in the SharePoint Online Administration under the section Access Control. Check the box Allow Limited Access and block downloading. Now we can change back to the Azure AD under Conditional Access. Create a new policy and choose a name of your choice. Enable the policy for all users. You can also use a selected group, like guest users for example, to provide this policy just for external accounts. Select SharePoint as the affected cloud application. Choose the client apps in the condition and use only the browser option. Under the session, click the Use App Enforcement Restrictions and turn on the policy. Test the configuration we've done with a login to your SharePoint environment. You will see a banner that informs you about the restrictions, and you are not able to download, print, or sync documents as expected. Next, we will create some example named locations under the Conditional Access section. This option allows you to exclude such a location in the policy. Afterwards, we will create a new policy. Enable the policy for all users. Choose Exchange Online under the Cloud apps. Under Conditions, Locations, include any location and exclude trusted IPs. We set a second condition on the client apps. Choose only the browser option. In the access controls, we require the multi-factor authentication. Test the Exchange Online access with Done. The system will ask you to complete the MFA registration process. After the successful registration and logon, log out and try it again to verify the new logon experience. To verify the exclusion process, add the actual public IP to the named locations and try the scenario again. You should not be requested for a multi-factor authentication. In this video, you have learned to configure typical application access scenarios with the most available options. Furthermore, you received an overview of the conditional access capabilities powering Azure Active Directory. Mahalo! Meet you in the next video. Happy to configure password reset and the Windows 10 management with you. Keep on moving!